Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. A Sunday afternoon at Miller Park in Milwaukee. The Cardinals looking for a sweep. St. Louis off to a great start. However, this series, the wins have come at a price. Friday night, Yadier Molina hit by that pitch. Not in the lineup today. Last night, the apparent injury to Adam Wainwright to the Achilles. Devastating injury for St. Louis. More on the injury front. Downstairs we go. It's Jimmy's. Jimmy.
Dan, Wainwright to the 15-day DL. The Cards confirming he is dealing with an Achilles injury. They're also saying it's potentially season-ending. They'll know more tomorrow when Waino has an MRI. As for Yadier Molina, not in the lineup today. He's dealing with a bruised right knee, but Yadi says it is doing better, and he told me he'll be lobbying for an opportunity to pinch hit today. We're getting you set for Cardinals baseball. Cards and Brewers. Cards looking for a sweep.
by Kia. And the team ERA leaders, the Cardinals, an incredible run to start this year. ERA is under 2. The starters' ERA is even better than that. It's 1.97. The best in franchise history since 1943. Lance Lynn goes today.
He's one of those guys that's got that ERA down under 2. Lance Lynn, 3 outstanding starts, explosive fastball. Lance Lynn has also pitched very well here in Milwaukee.
Mike Fiers, Lance Lynn, Cards, Brewers, a sweep? We're about to find out. This bud's for you. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealers for great prices on our all-new 2015 vehicles today. We actually saw the sun about an hour ago here in Milwaukee, so that's some good news. CB Buckner says, hold on a second, Mike Fiers, before our first pitch. We're not ready to go. And now Carpenter digs in. A Sunday lineup, if you will, for Mike Matheny and for the Milwaukee Brewers. First pitch taken for a strike, and we're underway. Fiers is 0-3, ERA near 7. In his career, he's pitched well against St. Louis for the most part. Hyundai pitch arsenal for Mike Fiers.
Not an overpowering pitcher, 64% fastballs. Will use his changeup a lot. Last time out, Danny gave up 2 grand slams in 1 game against the Cincinnati Reds. His batting average against very high in the early going.
Here's a 1-1. It'll be interesting to see how much he goes to the fastball in this start. He threw it about 60% of the time against the Cardinals back on the 16th. He went 5 2/3, gave up a pair of earned runs. But mostly in the other 2 starts, it was off-speed pitches. But a lot of fastballs to the Cardinals. The 1-2 pitch to Carpenter. Breaking ball was taken high.
As you said, he's pitched very well against St. Louis, and his career has an ERA of 1.72 against the Cardinals. So he's figured something out, and he's going to have to give his team a lift. This is a team here in Milwaukee that is struggling, and that may be an understatement.
Here's a 2-2. That 1.72 ERA in 5 career starts against St. Louis. In his career, Fiers is under 500. He's 15-20. A 3-2 pitch to Carpenter. Get off the end of the bat, and that's rolling foul. Had enough spin and English on that. It hit the lip of the grass and almost came back into fair territory.
That's why you got to play it out. You got to run it out. Ramirez not in the lineup today. You talked about the Sunday lineup. That's Hector Gomez playing third today. This is a very interesting lineup for Ron Renneke today. No Ryan Braun. No Aramis Ramirez.
Carpenter is riding a 12-game hitting streak. On a hop to short, Gene Segura. The pit by Lynn for the first out. Look at the Cardinals lineup featuring Carpenter, Hayward, and Peralta here in the first. Matt Adams will bat cleanup. And then Mark Reynolds, he's in left field today. Colton Wong, Peter Borges in center. Tony Cruz behind the plate. Lance Lynn is on the mound.
Dan, you use the phrase Sunday lineup for maybe baseball fans that haven't been around the game a long time. That has been kind of a long-standing tradition. Starts in the minor leagues. You've got guys on your team that aren't going to be your everyday player, but you let them play on Sunday. Often they'd be double headers. You'd say this is the Sunday lineup. Give our regulars one day off a week, and you just kind of throw the extra guys out there. And some big league managers still do that. Others do not.
Tony La Russa used to do that an awful lot.
He did.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. And you'd see it more times than not win on the road, and if the series had been won. And in this case, the Cardinals have already won the series, so rest some of the regulars and get ready for an 11-game homestand beginning tomorrow night. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Jason Hayward, who's homered in this series. Last night he doubled. Cardinals had 9 hits, and 6 of the 9 hits in game 2 were for extra bases by 6 different Cardinals. We saw the first couple of weeks where the pitching just dominated, not just with the Cardinals, but across Major League Baseball. Hitting was down, but now it's starting to get back to normalcy, if you will, league-wide. I'm sure part of that is due to the fact that the weather is changing. Hitters are catching up, getting in a routine of the regular season. Just some of the factors to think about.
Cardinals up to 260 as a team. Respectable number.
I think Hayward was ready to go to the dugout.
And this is Juan Centeno trying to steal this pitch. Frame it, throw it to third. No, I better not.
And it's chopped to the right side. Slowly hit. Lind with it. Steps on the bag for the out. Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's defense for the Brewers. Davis, Schaefer, and Parr in the outfield. Gomez is at third. Gene Segura with a team-high 6 errors at short. Herrera and Lind on the right side. And Centeno is behind the plate. Johnny Peralta hitting .328. He hit a home run the other night in game 1 that was as high as it was far. A pair of home runs. He has driven in 8. Peralta, base hit into left center field. Over to gathered in Chris Davis, and a 2-out single for Peralta.
Peralta has hit very well at this ballpark. In the third spot today, deep in the box. Back foot of Peralta moves an awful lot. That's unusual for a hitter. Normally they have that planted. He's got that little clear out. I'm not going to say he's like Jordan Walden as a pitcher, but a little unique style of Johnny Peralta, but he's red hot right now.
Here's Matt Adams. Homered in the series against Washington 2 this year. Looks at a strike. He's not in the starting lineup yesterday. And he's hitting .229. Breaking ball. Broke his bat. And that drops in for a hit. Peralta stops at second base. So back-to-back singles, and here comes the former Brewer, Mark Reynolds.
Well, the Brewers had 3 balls hit over the center fielder's head yesterday, and Schaefer's not going to let that happen today. He's playing deep in the outfield. This ball off the end of the bat, down and away to Adams, and ends up as a base hit. Ball's just dropping for the Cardinals and just an inch away for the Brewers in this series.
The numbers for the Brewers are staggering when you look at this start that they've had. 3-15. If you go back to August 25th, Rick, they have 12 wins since then. 12-37 in that time frame.
Cardinals, on the other hand, off to the best start in baseball other than the New York Mets.
Tied with Kansas City for the second best record in the game. We have talked about this throughout the weekend. It's not the fact that you're losing games, but the manner in which they've lost a couple of games here against the Cardinals. Very sloppy play. A 1-0 pitch to Mark Reynolds. Mark going with that high sock Sunday look. Always like that look with this uniform.
I agree.
Here's a 1-1. 1-2. We'll do it again. 1 ball and 2 strikes. To put it in perspective, generally it takes about 88 wins to get into postseason play. The 2 wildcard teams last year, San Francisco and Pittsburgh, had 88 wins. Ron Ronick's club would have to go 85-59 the rest of the way just to get to 88.
They're going to get better, but hard to imagine at this point them getting that much better.
Think about that. 85-59 the rest of the way. They may get better. I don't see them getting that good. So the 1-2. Taken low and outside. Dealing with injuries. Jim Henderson out of their bullpen. Out with a sore shoulder. Scooter Gennett, hand laceration. Carlos Gomez, hamstring. Jonathan Lucroy is going to miss more than a month with a broken toe. Here's Gomez.
And that's why they're going to get better. They're going to get those players back. Lucroy is the leader of this team. Gomez is the spark of this team, and they're going to win more games with those 2 guys in the lineup. We saw the defensive lapse with Gomez not being in the game first 2 games of this series.
Pitch inside to Reynolds. Count is full. And runners off with this next pitch with a count of 3-2. There they go, and Reynolds hits a fly ball out to deep left center field. Davis back on the track and makes the catch. Cardinals strand 2. Lance Lynn to the mound when we come back. Yadier Molina, one of the biggest stories, and Adam Wainwright being out. In particular, Wainwright, one of the biggest stories in the game today. The Brewers lineup: Segura, Schaefer, and Parra. Then Lynn, Davis, Herrera, Gomez, Centeno, and Fires. Lance Lynn goes for the Cardinals. 3 starts, a record of 1-1. From all the years he's had run support, well, this year he hasn't had it, has he?
No, he had it his first season in really unprecedented way with all the runs the Cardinals piled up for him. But this year it's been a different story. That's why his record's just 1-1. The ERA terrific for Lance Lynn. And we noticed him going out to warm up, Danny. We talked about Lance Lynn. This guy's a horse. He's a big man, 6'5", 240, and he attacks the strike zone with his fastball.
Strike 2, Gene Segura, who is 9 for 20 in his career off of Lance Lynn, and batting .324. The Hyundai pitch arsenal for Lance Lynn.
There's the slider that Lynn featured on that last delivery. Throws that 17.5% of the time. Also has a curveball where he opens up the slider a bit more, but he's mostly fastball. High percentage of fastballs from Lance Lynn. 2 different varieties. That one that'll kind of dive in on a right-hander, and the one that'll throw up in the zone with a little life to it to get the strikeouts.
Cardinals have 4 starters in the top 12 of ERA in the National League. There's a strikeout to begin the afternoon for Lance Lynn. And Lynn is one of those 4 that the Cardinals have in the top 12. Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's defense with Mark Reynolds in left field. Borges in center, Hayward in right. Carpenter, Peralta, Wong, and Adams along the infield, and Tony Cruz behind the plate. Here's Logan Schaefer. He's in center field today. Strike 1.
The last 2 pitches to Segura, Dan, were the classic example of how Lance Lynn uses his fastball differently. Threw that pitch down and in with some movement, and then rode it up and away. And that is by design. He knows what he's doing and has developed a great deal of command with his fastball, which is where it starts.
I asked him the other day, I said, do you feel underappreciated around Major League Baseball when you look at your numbers and the ERA, the wins? And that was a fair ball. Just inside the third base line. A little excuse me swing. And a double for Logan Schaefer. But just to finish the story, he said, you know, I look at the numbers, I see where I stand with the rest of baseball, but I really don't worry about it. He said, we're winning. Great atmosphere with this team, and he's looking to have a great year. Sometimes you got to have a little luck. Gerardo Parra
You mentioned that Segura has hit Lance Lynn well. Actually, the first 3 hitters in this order all have healthy numbers against Lance Lynn. Parra, 474 with 2 home runs against Lance Lynn.
The former Diamondback, and he's in right field today. So far this year, he's played all 3 outfield positions against the Cardinals. Back in St. Louis, he was in left, replacement late in games. We've seen him in center starting in place of Gomez, and today he's in right. Popped up and out of play. That'll find the seats.
So from projected 4th outfielder to batting 3rd in the order.
And that kind of year so far for Milwaukee. We will not be back here until early August. What will the team look like then? Two balls and 1 strike. Cardinals pitching has just been ridiculous this year. Opponents hitting only .210 against them. They've allowed the fewest hits, runs, and home runs in the National League. Two and two.
Kind of hard to imagine that the Brewers have hit the fewest home runs in the National League and given up the most. And that's just a bad recipe. Again, not trying to pile it on the Brewers right now because it is a long season, but right now they're just not a very good team. But again, you can't panic as a team. You just have to expect things are going to get better, just as the Cardinals can't panic with the news that they got with their injuries the last couple of days.
Where do the Cardinals go on Thursday? That would be the spot occupied by Adam Wainwright. St. Louis looks to fill that internally. And some of the options right now would be a Tim Cooney, Tyler Lyons. We saw Petrick in spring training. He would be an option as well. Marco Gonzalez is on the 7-day disabled list. It's a 7-day DL in the minor leagues. There's a swing and a miss. And you still have the option of Jaime Garcia as well eventually. The Toyota keys to the game for Rick Horton.
Well, that conversation leads to our keys, and there's Matt Carpenter, who's been a key to the team's offense. He has really just ignited this offense. He's one of the keys, but weathering the emotion of losing Adam Wainwright, I think, is a big key to this game. And players are used to having bumps in the road during a season. You know you're going to get them. We talked about that before Adam got hurt yesterday. You're going to have times like this. Now, this is a pretty big bump. I mean, I can't just say it's a little bump in the road. It's a big bump. But you've got to find a way emotionally as a team, in some ways, as Mike Shannon said in our open, not worry about Thursday, let's worry about today. Now, again, easier said than done because you care about your teammate who's hurt. But focusing on today is what players' mantra typically is, and who's going to step up. That's the word coming out of the Cardinals clubhouse today. Everybody's talking about stepping up, and it's Lance Lynn's turn to do it today.
It's not just what Wainwright brings every 5th day. It's also his presence with this club and the leadership, and that is going to be sorely missed.
And there's a personal factor here. These guys care about Adam Wainwright. I mean, think about that. Just that alone. Just that feeling of loss that you've got a teammate that can't perform right now.
I'm not sure you saw or heard Jim Hayes' interview with Matt Holliday when he came off the field last night, but he said, man, my thoughts go out to Adam and his family. And, you know, we didn't know the extent of the injury at that point in time. Obviously, Holliday had more insight than anybody else being down there, but that gives you an idea of what you're talking about. Chris Davis with 2 on. Milwaukee 2 for 19 with runners in scoring position in this series. This is where the Cardinals pitching staff has been remarkable in terms of just shutting the door and not allowing big innings or even scoring innings against them.
Typically
starting to question the strike zone a little bit.
He is. I mean, that stat you're talking about most often is talked about as it relates to relievers with inherited runners and pitching well with runners on base. But your starters have to have that ability too. And we've seen it in this series already. We saw Wainwright do it. We saw Carlos Martinez do it. Shut down the team when they're rallying. And the Cardinal starters have been terrific at that this season.
With runners in scoring position, the Cardinals pitching staff, everybody, relievers, starters, the average against them is 138. Here's a 1-0. 1 ball and 1 strike. Just watching the mannerisms here of Lance Lynn, he is not happy with this strike zone one bit.
Cardinals see C.B. Bucknor quite a bit in spring training. He's one of the umpires that's typically assigned to a lot of Cardinal spring training games.
We see CB and also Angel Hernandez, one of your favorites.
The Brewers weren't very happy with Dale Scott yesterday, the crew chief.
2-1 pitch. Out of play.
Ron Renicky got tossed yesterday, questioning the strike zone, which you're not allowed to do, questioning balls and strikes. And Renicky trying to do anything he can to get his team fired up. That's, as we mentioned yesterday, not his typical style. Very kind of low-key manager, and has done a nice job with this club in the past, but things just aren't working right now.
The 2-2 pitch from Lynn. And he strikes out the side here in the first inning. Here's Colton Wong, and the first pitch is a strike underway here in the top of the second. Wong is hitting .288, 1 home run. He's driven in 6. Peter Borges on deck, and then we'll see Tony Cruz. There's a changeup from Fiers. You may recall it was at this ballpark late last season. Mike Fiers with a high fastball to Giancarlo Stanton hit him in the face. And Fiers visibly shook up over that night and the days after that. Pitch is popped up. Out of play. And a nice play made by a fan. Of course, he can't feel his right hand right now, but well done.
One-handed grab, getting the high fives. That's just making it worse.
It's this ballpark where I made a dazzling catch up here in the booth, and I think it was last year, and I protected Al. I had to protect him.
I wish I'd have seen that.
Oh, yeah. I had to protect him. Now, I may be embellishing the story just a little bit. A little bit. You know how bad my hand hurt after that?
Oh, I'm sure.
It was awful. And I tried to be tough.
So I think the real moral of that story was Al is smart enough to get out of the way.
Correct.
Okay. Just want to make sure I got the summary correct.
Yes. People in the press box thought it hit my face. They said you could hear it, just a smack.
So if you have soft hands, it doesn't make that noise. You just kind of give with it a little bit. Here it comes. Oh, Danny. Oh.
Almost to the booth.
That was next door, wasn't it?
Yep. Right next door.
I'm ready.
We may get one today. Good spot to get one. Here's Herrera. One away.
You know, Al made the comment, Dan, about scoring first here in this game. I think that's even more important when you've got a team that's struggling. When you score first, it just puts that here we go again mentality into a team, and the Cardinals looking for the sweep today. I think if they do jump on the board first, I think that would make a huge difference today.
Here's Borges, and he fouls it back. Peter is 0 for 6 to start this year. Does have 3 stolen bases. That's been his primary role so far on the team.
And he's a happy dad.
Proud dad.
You bet.
Back with the team. And here's the 0-1 pitch. Should mention the Cardinals have called up Cody Stanley. He's a catcher. We've seen him a lot in spring training. So Stanley is up. And Wainwright to the disabled list. The ball's at 2 strikes on Borges.
As you talked about some of the options for the Adam Wainwright spot in the rotation, and again, we're talking about Thursday potentially being that day and where the Cardinals will need another starter. The roster becomes an important part of this conversation.
Breaking ball catches the outside corner.
And what I mean by that is the 40-man roster, who is actually on the roster of those names you mentioned. It's not necessarily a simple thing, just call a guy up. If he's not on the roster, you have to make some corresponding move, and you know, remains to be seen. A lot can happen between now and Wednesday or Thursday.
Cooney and Petrick are not on the 40-man roster. Tyler Lyons is. It really, you're talking about trying to buy some time in many ways, depending on how that goes on Thursday or the following start. But Marco Gonzalez almost made the club out of spring. He would have been, I would think, the logical choice to bring up, but he's hurt right now. He's on the DL. Jaime Garcia slowly but surely getting back, so you got to buy some time to get to him.
If it was 2 or 3 weeks from now, you'd say Jaime Garcia gets the first shot. I mean, I would think, but
yeah.
When a guy's coming back from injury and he's just thrown 1 simulated game, you wouldn't say, okay, let's rush that ahead and forget the next simulated game, forget the next rehab. You can't do that to Jaime, and it wouldn't be productive. So you got to give him, I think, a little more time. I'm not saying he's not an option down the road, but I think short term probably not.
I've always felt with these types of situations, John Mozeliak is perfect when things go awry, because he's very cool, very calm. He's been in the game a long time. He's not going to go just make some big trade, at least not at this point. They feel that they have depth and can handle this internally.
Well, it's very easy for fans to panic, people to panic that love the team and want the team to do well and say, hey, well, let's just go get Matt Harvey tomorrow. Well, you just can't just do that.
Off the glove of Gomez, and Tony Cruz is aboard with a base hit.
It's just not realistic to get the best pitchers in the game. Of course, Cole Hamels is a name that comes up. There's the backhanded try by Gomez. Third base, a reaction position. Actually did a nice job of getting a glove on that. Probably kept it from being a double.
I do find it ironic. The injury hits and Cole Hamels starts tomorrow against the Cardinals. That's not happening. I mean, the Cardinals feel that they have depth, even with Joe Kelly gone and Shelby Miller, Tyrell Jenkins.
If you're around baseball long enough, you see a lot of irony in it, day after day.
Now, having said that, if the options that we're talking about don't work out, then yes, then you explore outside. You see what's there, what's available. How about Lance Lynn? Knocks it out to left. Davis backhands it. Cruz to third. And Lynn in at second base. His second hit this year.
So now that backhanded stop by Hector Gomez saves a run. If Cruz is on second base, he scores on this bullet off the bat of Lance Lynn. Those are words I never thought I'd say. Don't tell Lance I said that. As I mentioned, he's 6'5", 240. But he's been working on his hitting. He really has. Carpenter, been a big key to this offense. Driving in runs, not just setting the table. Been very good with wrist. He has not hit fires very well in his career, but an opportunity here.
Breaking ball and a strike. Carpenter grounded out sharply first time up. Leads all of Major League Baseball in multi-hit games. It was number 12 last night for Carpenter. Prince Fielder with 10 of Texas. Votto with 10. Last year he had just 4 multi-hit games in the team's first 16 play. This year 12. Here's a 1-1 in the dirt. 2 balls, 1 strike.
I mentioned the 2 grand slams that Fiers gave up in his last outing against Cincinnati. They both came with 2 outs. He was having trouble closing out innings. In fact, he's had that problem all season long. Here's the opportunity for him to do it here. We've mentioned the Cardinals have been so good at that. Pitching with runners in scoring position. Now let's see what Fiers can do.
In the first inning, he got the first 2, then back-to-back hits pitched out of that jam.
Exactly.
And here he got the first 2, and now back-to-back hits. The 2-1 to Carpenter. 3-1. You know, if you're Mike Fiers, 3-1, as hot as Matt Carpenter has been, you almost say, look, I don't mind pitching around him, and I'll deal with Jason Hayward. We'll see if that's what he does.
One of the reasons you're kind of careful about doing that is when you're a guy that relies on command and control and hitting spots, once you get the bases loaded, you feel like you have to go in the middle of the plate a little bit more. So with first base open, I'm sure if he had his druthers, he'd get Carpenter out. But he can pitch to Carpenter differently than he would pitch to somebody with the bases loaded.
That's a good point. So the count runs full. fires working very slowly.
It's one of those factors that often people are surprised that they don't intentionally walk somebody with a base open to look. When you load the bases, anybody who's pitched understands the extra pressure and the smaller margin for error that puts on your pitcher.
The 3-2. And a walk to Carpenter. Bases are loaded for Jason Hayward.
So he couldn't get Carpenter to bite. Now he's thinking, well, I can't walk this guy. And the risk is he throws one in the heart of the plate and Hayward gives it a ride. I'd like to see Jason go to left center more than he does. I mean, he's done it this year, certainly. But it seems like when he waits and drives the ball the other way, that's his sweet spot swing. I'm talking about left center field, not left field, but left center. Let the ball get in on him a little more and drive it the other way.
Which is exactly what he did the other night with his home run. Cardinals stranded 2 in the first. They have the bases loaded here in the second. Hayward 0 for 1, grounded out to first. And the 0-1 pitch. A bouncer towards second, and a flip and a force with Segura. Coming up for Milwaukee, and we check in with Jim Hayes. Jimmy.
Danny, as you know, Yadier Molina sitting out for a second game with that bruised right knee. Yadi told me today the knee is doing a lot better. He said he can actually swing the bat now and run, and he was hoping that Mike Matheny would give him the opportunity to pinch hit at some point today. Mike says the issue with Yadi is when he crouches, it puts pressure on the knee, so they thought it best to give Yadi another day, but definitely improvement for Yadier Molina, Dan.
So the question would be, will we see him tomorrow or in the Phillies series behind the plate?
Yadi's saying he's hoping so, but he said that about the last couple of games too. He's always optimistic, but we'll see, Danny.
And a final question for you, Jim. Give me the mood of the clubhouse last night. And I mentioned your interview with Matt Holliday, which he talked about his emotions losing Adam Wainwright. What was it like in that clubhouse and then talking with Adam Wainwright?
It was somber, and they won a game, but the clubhouse mood was very down because Wainwright's in front. Trevor Rosenthal told me this morning, he said, I came into the clubhouse and I was half thinking I was going to see Waino walk in and say everything's okay. Not the case, but it's a huge loss for the team. And Mike Matheny said it's a test for his ball club.
Peralta can't come up with it. And it's a base hit for Herrera. He's hit the Cardinals so well in his career. That's one that Johnny would like back.
Long way to go, but a catchable ball once he gets to it. And I wonder if he just overran it a little bit. And as he reached up, didn't hit the middle of his glove. And again, the play he should make. Long way to go, but that should be out number one.
Here's Hector Gomez. These benches on both teams are loaded up. We've got Braun, Ramirez, and Maldonado potentially from the right side off the bench for Milwaukee today. Gomez playing instead of Aramis Ramirez at third base this afternoon.
I want to push what Jim was reporting a little bit further in terms of the clubhouse atmosphere. Dan, you think about how that can affect the team, but the guys you really worry about the most, if you're Mike Matheny, are the young players, because the young players are still learning what it means to be a big leaguer. They're still learning what's what and who do I follow and how does this all work, and all of a sudden you've kind of just upset things for them. I mean, you've got kind of upset the pecking order a bit. Wainwright's not there. Okay, now what happens? And the veterans have dealt with this before, but the young players haven't, not at this level. So kind of the proper way to get through it becomes a real coaching opportunity for veteran players and for your actual coaches to help your team get through that. I thought La Russa was a master at that.
Great motivator too.
The day after Wainwright got hurt in spring training
of 2011,
he had a team meeting and he told everybody, we're going to talk about who's here, not who's not. And it was not meant to put down Wainwright or dismiss him personally, because certainly they cared about Adam. But his point was, let's talk about who's here and how we're going to win. And it's a tough thing to do, but I think somebody's got to do that in that clubhouse. I think they are doing that.
Popped up again. Cruz over and can't come up with it.
Tough play. You're running right at a wall as fast as you can. You're looking up, trying to judge where it's going to be. Do I slide? And you don't want to lose that battle with the wall either.
Lynn is about a foot away from having 2 outs in this inning. The pop-up with Peralta and the pop-up moments ago with Tony Cruz.
There's one good sinker away from having 2 outs now.
Sure. Only Bartolo Colon throws more fastballs than Lance Lynn. Nothing real fancy about it, but as you mentioned, changes the eye level a lot. Good movement, late movement. Into right, there's Hayward, and he makes the catch. Herrera back to the bag at first.
I think the Brewers were envisioning another runner being picked off a base by taking too big of a chance there, as Herrera had to kind of decide, is, hey, we're going to catch this ball or not. It's a nice play by Jason coming in on the ball. He glides in the outfield, doesn't he?
He sure does. Good jumps.
Yes.
Juan Centeno. Catcher looking for his first hit, takes a strike. Mike fires the pitcher on deck. Tomorrow night at Busch Stadium. Back home, Lance Lynn is going today against Fires, and then back at it tomorrow at Busch Stadium with John Lackey and Cole Hamels. Hamels is 0-2. Lackey 1-0.
There's Lynn with the stare again. I think you're right, Danny. I don't think he's happy with the corners right now.
1-1 the count. You see him catch the ball, a little pause with the catch, stare back towards home plate. Is he saying something without saying it? Yes. And I think you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah. And there are times where, you'll get into a little jawing afterwards because of that little look, because umpires know that look. They know what you mean. But I think as long as you kind of voice your displeasure with the body language just a little bit, as opposed to being very overt about it, I think that umpires don't want to get shown up. And the classic way to argue with an umpire if you're a catcher is to say anything you want, just don't turn around. Because you can talk and nobody knows you're talking to the umpire. But once you turn around and look at him, everybody in the stadium knows you've got a problem with the umpire.
Here's a 1-2.
There's that look. Now I'll look up in the air. Now I'll look out the center.
Here's a 2-2. And that misses outside. Full count. Also, the pace at which Lynn is pitching here early on, much slower than usual.
Well, he's kind of searching around, almost a metaphor, as you see him looking around the stadium, trying to find his command and trying to slow himself down to kind of figure out what he's doing wrong.
A liner off the glove of Carpenter, still a force play, and Wong makes sure that they get the shore out at second base. So off of Carpenter, that ball will go 5-6 to 4. T-Mobile game changers. How about the starters and what they've been able to do? That's impressive right there.
Outstanding. Those four with sub-2 ERAs. And say John Lackey hasn't pitched badly. He had one bad start, but he's been okay. And talk about this Cardinal rotation, and you clearly say it's their strength. So losing Wainwright for some unspecified period of time is not good news, but it's not disastrous news as it would be on a team where they got a number 1 and 4 number 5s.
There's a ground ball hit to short. Peralta. A flip to Colton Wong. Brewers strand a runner. They've stranded 3 thus far. No score after 2. HD with MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. All you have to do is visit MLB.TV. It's Peralta, Adams, and Reynolds for the Redbirds. We move to the top of the third.
And Danny, I wanted to pass along the sad news. Anybody that's been in the Cardinals organization for a prolonged period of time was very well acquainted with Bill Valentine, who passed away this morning. And he was the former general manager of the Arkansas Travelers team. He was a former umpire and became the general manager in Arkansas. Most of the Cardinal players from the 80s, 90s, and even back to the 70s passed through Little Rock, Arkansas. And he was the general manager there and very much a player favorite. And we just want to express our condolences to the Valentine family.
Walter with a single to left center, first time up. Johnny Peralta, you mentioned this earlier. He's hitting close to 500 in this ballpark with the Cardinals.
You know, we often talk about the one-on-one matchups between a pitcher and a hitter, and you know the numbers that he has or doesn't have. But I think sometimes there's just a feel of the ballpark too, that you see the ball better in a particular ballpark. I frankly think this is a hard park to see it. The lights, especially for the fans, it seems like a very dark stadium. Players don't notice that on the field, but a lot of times it's the hitting background. There's just something about the surroundings that don't kind of distract you, and perhaps this ballpark just is to his visual liking.
Hitter's backdrop. I've talked to a number of the Cardinals over the years. They love the backdrop that the hitters have, and there it is. I say this is one of the better ballparks for that. And when it's really it feels dark in here, it's when the roof is closed. I mean, it's just it's gray. It's kind of dark. And pitch taken high, so a walk to Peralta. The second walk issued by Fires. And he'll deal with base runners again for the third consecutive inning.
There's the lights that actually go along, I guess, the lower rows of seats. So for fans sitting in the middle deck here, it just has a dark experience here.
Here's Matt Adams, who's 1 for 1. Single back in the first. They'd be doing a game here in first season of this ballpark, and after the game they would open up the roof and fans would just sit there in amazement.
Right.
And I loved it because it cleared traffic out of the way, so we'd get back to the hotel quicker. Yeah, watch it. It's great. It's going to go back and then fourth. That will drop. And a base hit as Peralta stops at second base. So 40,000 people be staring up at the ceiling, and I'm heading down the road. It's the second time that Adams has fought off a pitch. Missouri Lottery Fox Tracks.
Last time it was a pitch down and away. This time it's a pitch middle in. Same result. A little flare to center field, but that's, well, they all count.
Should Peralta be at third base?
Well,
should that have been read a little bit better?
I think he wasn't sure about it the first couple of steps off of his lead at first base. Had he read that more quickly, I think he could be at third base. But I think he was a little hesitant, wasn't sure whether that ball would carry to the center fielder, and I think that kept him from going to third.
Strike at the knees to Mark Reynolds. He fly to Chris Davis in deep left center, first time up with 2 runners on. This identical situation back in the first inning.
And the Cardinal rule, Dan, that ball was fouled off his foot. The Cardinal rule that we've preached for years and years and years in this game of baseball is you never make the first or the third out at third base.
And there's a new Cardinal rule too. Mark Reynolds should never bunt with runners on because he could make it 3-0.
Well, that's...
Or was that my rule?
I think that's a reasonable rule.
Okay. I'd like to see him swing the bat.
I'm with you. Well, bunting and when you bunt is changing drastically.
It is. Mike Matheny talked about that last week with us.
The way the safety squeeze is used was what he was talking about in particular, but we see people bunting with a man on second base and 2 outs. And I can't fathom why that's a good idea with the numbers of baseball as they are. I can't imagine why that would be a good idea. You have a chance to drive somebody in.
Here's a 1-2. Now 2 balls, 2 strikes. I just looked it up. It's in the Cardinal Way.
What page?
It's page 310. Mark Reynolds
and by the way,
bat.
There's about that many. Have you read the Cardinal Way?
I have.
It's a lot of reading. People think that's a little pamphlet. It's not.
Mr. Schilt, who is the manager at Memphis now, put that together. Basically a collection of theories, which all really began way back when, but George Kissel carried them out for decades.
Kissel and Red Schoendienst and Dave Ricketts and the great teachers of the game, Galen Pitts, Mark DeJean, Jim Riggleman for years.
And Reynolds strikes out. First strikeout of the inning, number 2 this afternoon for Fiers.
It's his spot down and away. Well, I think that Cardinal Way, if you want to call it a tutorial, I'm not sure what you'd call it, but it's really used to help teach younger players and managers how to manage and how to coach in the minor leagues. I think they were tired of saying, well, you know how we've always done it. And then somebody just said, well, it's unwritten rules. Let's write them down.
And a base hit into right off the bat of Colton Wong. They'll hold up Peralta with the very good arm of Parra, who already has 2 outfield assists this year. So the bases are loaded, and Peter Borges will be the hitter.
I like what Jose Oquendo's been doing this season. He's been a little bit more aggressive sending runners, but this would have been a bad mission to send Peralta against Parra, as good as his arm is. He was also playing fairly shallow and right, and I do think that the Cardinals have been more aggressive on the base pass overall this season than we saw a year ago, which I think is a good thing.
So 1 out, Peter Borges. The corners are in, and a big gap into left center. This is the second time the Cardinals have had the bases loaded. They had the bases loaded with Jason Hayward up in the top of the second.
And don't think Fiers isn't remembering his last start where he gave up 2 bases loaded home runs.
This is already the 6th at bat the Cardinals have had with runners in scoring position. Yeah, how do you not think about that? Fiers struck out Borges his first time up looking. He had him in this spot on 0-2. The 0-2 pitch. Strikeout of Borges.
Close to the same pitch he threw Mark Reynolds outside. This one a little further outside. And Borges rung up on a pitch out of the zone.
Tony Cruz is single his first time up. The hot shot off the glove of Hector Gomez down at third. Cardinals are in danger of stranding 8 in the first 3 innings.
6 hits, 2 walks already.
Inning started with a walk to Peralta. Base hit by Adams. Reynolds struck out. Base hit by Wong to load him up. And the strikeout of Peter Borges. Here's a 1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, this inning pointing to the value of strikeouts from a pitcher's point of view. Ball's put in play by either Mark Reynolds or Peter Bourjos or both of them, and you've got some runs somehow because you're not going to double up Bourjos to be sure. So put the ball in play, you get a run.
Here's a 1-1. Popped up, and that'll find the seats out of play. Already 67 pitches for Fiers. He's recorded 8 outs.
Not a bad mix of balls and strikes. Cardinals, and that happens when you're not an overpowering pitcher. A lot of foul balls. A lot of deep counts.
The 1-2. 2-2. Well, we talked about how the Cardinals pitching has been great in these types of spots with runners in scoring position. The offense with runners in scoring position came in today with an average of .225, which is 19th in baseball. A 2-2 pitch to Cruz. We'll do it again.
Well, Danny, the Cardinals were so good at that 2 years ago. I mean, ridiculously good.
330.
I think we've seen this ongoing regression to the mean that I'm not even sure we're back to it yet.
No.
If you think about what they did 2 years ago.
Record setting. And even what they did 2 years ago in this spot with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. You may never see that again.
Spent my whole career trying to progress to the mean as opposed to regress to the mean.
You weren't the only one.
Just get the average somehow.
Hopefully we see him tomorrow night. Now Cruz wants a new bat. Mike Fiers was drafted in the 22nd round of 2009 as a 24-year-old. He's had some so-so seasons, but a good example of the loss of Gallardo. They traded him away, maybe asking too much from some of the pitchers left in this rotation to move up a spot.
That's what I think.
Could be Mike Fiers. Here's another 2-2 on its way. He strikes out the side, and in 3 innings, the Cardinals have stranded 8. fans at home could see what we have in between innings and hanging out with Jim Hayes, giving him trouble.
It's an absolute treat, isn't it? I mean,
he's a delight.
We are so fortunate.
Really
a laugh a minute, that Jim Hayes.
A couple seem to be touched by it. You know, they were very much in a hugging mood. Jim just makes you feel that way.
He does. He lights up our life.
Here's Segura, and he looks at a strike. Jim has left the booth. Lynn has struck out 3. Those 3 came in the first inning. A high chopper towards third, a fair ball. And Carpenter throwing over Lance Lynn, who hit the deck out there on the mound.
Why not? When you're 6'5", sometimes you just have to get out of the way.
Watch this.
Here's the ground ball to the left side. Lynn realizes the angle is maybe right in firing range. So ball goes to third. He watches it and says, whoops.
Get down. Here's Logan Schaefer, who doubled on a check swing. A little excuse me swing past Matt Carpenter down the third base line. And was left stranded in the first.
Usually about once a year in the minor leagues, you'd see a pitcher hit by a throw from the catcher. Lance Lynn wasn't about to become one of those victims, but on a throw down the second base, pitchers often have to either clear off the mound or go down. A lot of times they would just kind of turn around and duck. And, you know, catcher's arms in the minor leagues not quite as accurate as the big league arms, and a lot of times guys that get hit.
Saw Molina do that a few years ago. Hit one of the pitchers. Also saw Yadi throw one off of Aoki's head when he was in the batter's box.
I do remember that. Well, as Red Schoendienst is fond of saying, one of our favorite guys. We love Red. I know you had a great visit with him and Lou Brock during the last homestand, and just a terrific time with Red and the great stories. But he says every spring training, we missed him this spring, but he says if you stay around baseball, you'll understand that every year you'll see something you've never seen before.
That's Offerland this time. Stay cool all summer in a performance t-shirt with a unique Cardinals logo. Sunday, May 3rd. Cardinals take on the Pirates. 25,000 fans, 16 and older, will take home this one-of-a-kind t-shirt. You see it there with Jason Hayward. And tickets are available at cardinals.com/promotions. Rick will have his FCA night coming up on Friday night.
Celebrating 50 years of FCA's service to the St. Louis community, and we're making it an alumni night. We want folks to go to cardinals.com to get the theme ticket there for the FCA night at the ballpark on Friday night.
Adam Wainwright will be a part of that night.
He sure will be.
Here is Parra, and he looks at a ball low and away. Struck out swinging in the first. Hit down the right field line and a fair ball in the corner. Schaefer can run, they'll wave him in. Parra on his way to third. 1-0 Milwaukee.
The Cardinals have had many opportunities to get on the board first in this game, but it's Milwaukee that does it. Here's Parra, who runs well, lacing the ball into the corner. It looked like the ball was in the corner for a long time. In fact, there's some conversation with Jason Hayward going on right now in right field. But first we'll look at Schaefer scoring from first base. He runs well.
You've got to be kidding me. The medical team now is looking at Jason Hayward.
That's Chris Conroy, Peter Borges. Man. I thought the ball took a long time to get out of the corner. From our vantage point, Dan, we could not see Jason Heyward in the corner. But he's such a good outfielder and has such a good arm. It just took a while for that ball to come out of that corner to Colton Long. There's Heyward going into the corner. And he stumbles a bit, and an off-balance throw.
Rick, I wonder if his cleat may have stuck. It's metal cleats. If it's stuck out there, which sometimes the lines that aren't chalk, they're a rubberized line. And I think you know what I'm talking about with the lines that go down first and third base. But it's chalk on the infield. Then they paint it on the grass. And then sometimes in the outfield, it could be like a rubberized line. And it just looked like maybe his cleat had caught. I don't know if it was on that or on the track, but regardless, John Jay will come in this game, it looks like, and that'll be it for Jason Heyward. Hopefully this is just precautionary.
Well, he seemed to be running without a lot of distress. That's kind of a good sign there, and it looked like he may have even been lobbying to stay in the game. Explaining to Matt Carpenter, who has the story now that we don't have yet, about what exactly happened and what caused him to be taken out of this game. But again, he doesn't seem to be too distraught about this. It's just frustrating again in light of what's gone on with this Cardinal club over the last 3 days.
You lose Adam Wainwright, who led the major leagues in wins and innings pitched since 2013. Finished in the top 3 in the Cy Young voting in each of the last 2 years. You've got Molina out, 7-time Gold Glover, and you have now Heyward leaving. Goodness. Adam Lind is the next hitter. It's 1-0 Milwaukee.
Cardinals have the infield in, trying to choke off this second run. And from the hitter's point of view, you just love that when the infield's in. You know they're trying to, again, have that ground ball not be run producing, but you just totally open up holes when you have the infield in. It's the right thing to do, but hitters become better hitters when the infield's in.
Now Tony Cruz takes a foul ball, and he's hunched over. What's going on out there? Yadi's thinking, you know what? Been there, done it. Here's the 0-2. A high fly ball. Deep right. And this one is gone. 3-0 Milwaukee. Adam Lind, his third home run.
Been a lot of smiles for this Brewers team, but Adam Lind on a 2-strike pitch gets a ball up in the middle of the plate, not the intended location for Lance Lynn. And the Cardinals, who threatened most in this game, find themselves down 3-0 early. Long, long way to go.
Without question, the Cardinals will see the bullpen of Milwaukee. All the pitches thrown by Fiers.
Right.
Lynn is at 51. 3-0 Brewers. Here's Davis, who struck out with 2 outs and 2 on back in the first. Little flare into shallow right, and that drops in for a hit. So 4 consecutive hits against Lynn. So Molina, Wainwright, and Hayward out with injuries this season. The career WAR, wins above replacement.
And that tells you with numbers what we just know by following this Cardinal team, that those are 3 players that are integral parts of this team, and big parts and keys to winning.
Pitches down and away to the left-handers for the most part have been a strike today. That one was not, I guess. Here's a 1-0 pitch to Herrera. Just about the same spot. And it's 1-1. Brewers have loaded up the lefties in this lineup. 5 of them against Lance Lynn.
Not the way Lance Lynn thought this afternoon would go. And he's got to manage his frustration right now. Doesn't like the strike zone. You can see that. Doesn't like the way Davis got a little bloop hit to right. Doesn't like the 0-2 pitch that he threw up in the zone. I mean, there's frustration is building for him, and finding ways to manage that, kind of let the steam out a little bit, but go back to pitching.
Borges is there for the out.
Lynn has an opportunity to be a 5-3 winner in this game. And you've got to mentally, I mean, it's hard, Danny. It is hard when things aren't going well to envision that something could be different an hour from now, but it could be.
I think of concern, too, for the Cardinals in the loss of Wainwright, which is significant in itself, every 5th day not having him. But where are the innings going to come from? You know, you're talking about a guy that gives you 200 to 220, maybe 240 in innings, with a bullpen that, to an extent, been used a lot early on this season. I mean, the starters have been very good. They don't go overly deep into games. That right now, I think, has got to be a concern for Mike Matheny.
Well, you know, you're concerned about innings for Michael Wacha for reasons of him coming off injury. You're concerned about Carlos Martinez for being young. So yeah, I think you've got innings questions, and I think part of the reason why the Cardinals signed Villanueva in the offseason was to be a guy that could get some extra innings. And now I think they envision him more as a middle guy, long guy. But he's been a spot starter in his career. It's another place innings could come from.
Randy Choate, primarily a one-hitter appearance. So that sets you back a little bit when you look for innings. It's one of the reasons why the Cardinals still have Mitch Harris up, among others.
Well, the two key players in the game yesterday were Mitch Harris out of the bullpen, and there's Carlos on the right, Villanueva, maybe recognizing that his importance has just risen. But both Belisle and Manus, another big part of the win yesterday.
4 strikeouts for Lynn and a 3-0 early lead for Milwaukee. That's Parra with a triple. That would score Schaefer. 1-0 Milwaukee. Then on an 0-2 pitch, Adam Lind. No doubt about it. 3-0. The Brewers on top, and here is Lance Lynn. And Lynn doubled his first time up. Pitch count at 72 already from Mike Fiers.
That was a great look at Lind. It's almost like a guy that can't keep a smile off his face.
Yeah.
I just hit a home run. Can you believe it?
He should be smiling.
He should be.
He's off to a good start, too.
Yeah, no doubt.
And the 3-1 pitch. Now 3-2.
I thought for sure you were going to ask me if Lance was going to be taking 3-0 or not. I was ready for your question, and you disappointed me, Danny.
I would not do that to you. Here's a 3-2.
You know, in the old days, it was $5 if you'd walk the leadoff hitter in Kangaroo Court. $5 if you ever walked the pitcher, and it was an extra $5. It was $15 if you walked the pitcher leading off an inning. That was the bonus fine in Kangaroo Court.
It's big money.
Big money. And there it is. $15.
Oh, they're going to say he went around?
I don't know about that.
Wow.
He saved his $15.
No way.
That is not a swing, in my mind. There's some subjectivity to that. Is it a real attempt to swing or not? But I believe the hands moved some, but the bat head did not. I don't think that's a swing.
Here's Carpenter. That pitch taken high. So Fiers has struck out 5. It might be about T-1 inning from an eruption from Lance Lynn. Could happen.
Well, the frustration we talked about, you add that to the list.
Exactly. It's building.
Does he swing or not? Oh, boy.
Now C.B. Buckner is hearing it from the Cardinals dugout.
I still say no.
One ball and 2 strikes.
You know, Danny, it's still true in the game of baseball. The best way to take out your frustration is to just hammer the baseball. Batter after batter. Score about 8 runs an inning, and then you're not frustrated anymore. But if that's not working, players will look for places to vent that frustration, which sometimes goes to yourself, and sometimes it goes to the umpires.
Here we go. Carpenter having words with C.B. Buckner. Let's take a look.
Is it a strike? Down in the zone? Wow. Down and away. That's really not even close. Not even close.
Remember what I was saying about down and away to the left-handers earlier in this game? Buckner was giving that call, but nothing that low, that wide.
I think that view that we just saw there is going to produce some fireworks.
Yes.
Before the day's over.
You bet.
And Lynn has his degree of frustration, but think about the manager who had to take his right fielder out of a game after losing his best pitcher and his starting catcher all in about 72 hours.
So base hit for Jay as Hayward, if you're just joining us, he left the game. Hopefully it's only precautionary, but looked like they were dealing with some type of leg issue. But we don't know. So we'll wait and see afterwards. I'll just let you speculate all you want, though, Rick, if you feel like it.
Well, all I know is he's not in the game. Does that help?
You've updated us. Here's Johnny Peralta. Single to left center and also walked back in the third. And the ball gets away, so John Jay on his way to second base.
That ball sailed a bit on Lynn, but it did hit him in the glove. I think he should have caught that ball. 2 outs. You wouldn't think John Jay would be stealing there. Down 3-0. But now he is in scoring position.
One-0 pitch to Johnny Peralta. Ripped into left, and here comes John Jay. Davis will throw to the plate. It's offline and cut off, and the Cardinals get on the board. The little things that can add up, and they have added up in a big way in this series for the Milwaukee Brewers, just not playing smart or sharp baseball.
Well, that defensive lap has caused a run here for the Cardinals, and Peralta comes through again. 2 for 3 here today. Continues to hit Milwaukee pitching. And the error on the pickoff throw at first base leads to a run.
And again, Rick, with 2 outs, he gets the first 2. And then it's back-to-back hits against Fires. He's done that in 3 innings. And here is Matt Adams. He could tie it up. Adams hits it sharply to second. And Herrera bobbled just a bit, but stays with it. Cardinals get on the board. RBI number 9 from Johnny Peralta.
That were done on him last night and how he felt this morning. It was pretty clear that this is an Achilles injury, and as far as the severity of it, we'll know a lot more tomorrow, but clearly it was enough for us to put him on the DL, make the player move, and unfortunately, it's not great news. I mean, any way you slice this, he's going to be missed for a while, and potentially losing this season is very real.
Point blank. Not the news you wanted to hear from John Mozeliak, the Cardinals GM. That pitch in for a strike. We're underway in the home half of the fourth. It's 3-1 Milwaukee.
More information from Chris Conroy to Mike Matheny. And those two have been very busy. Adam Olson is also on this trip, helping out as a trainer. You see him in the background, and he's actually the rehab specialist in this crew of trainers that the Cardinals have, and they're terrific. And all throughout the minor league system, these guys do a lot of work, and it's kind of like having that job where you don't really want to work. But when guys get hurt, you become important liaison between the injured player and management about when a guy might be ready, what your observations are, and of course you have to deal with all the doctors as well. And you wonder whether they're talking about Hayward there.
Mark Reynolds puts it away for the out. Greg Houck is not on this trip, the primary trainer for the Cardinals. He'll be back with us tomorrow. Cardinals Care Golf Tournament coming up on Tuesday, June 9th at Forest Park, and the proceeds will benefit the reviving baseball in the inner city program, RBI. Cardinals.com/RBI Golf. You'll have a St. Louis celebrity or former player with you. Here's Fires, and strike one. So down and in to the right-hander, and Lynn not getting that call. The 2-1.
Still say, Dan, when you're playing at this level and things aren't going your way, really the reality of this game, the problem of this game, is the fact that the Cardinals stranded 8 runners the first 3 innings. That's the real problem. And yet when the frustration builds, your focus tends to go to things that you can't control, like the umpires, the blue pits, the sun is in my eyes, all the things that become excuses in this game. And they may be very true, and they may be real factors, but you have to kind of get past that and say, I'm going to perform anyway.
Cardinals have had 8 at-bats in 4 innings with runners in scoring position. 8. Five strikeouts now for Lynn. And we're back to the top of the lineup in Gene Segura.
My point about that, Dan, is players have to battle becoming reactive. Compete at this level, you have to be proactive. I'm controlling what's happening here, not it controlling me. Very nuanced difference, but if you start reacting to things that are happening to you, you lose that sense of your own ability to make a difference going forward and to compete.
Chopper towards third. There's Carpenter. And a 1-2-3 inning. Segura slams his helmet in disgust. the first base coach didn't take kindly to that, did he?
No, that's Mike Guerrero. And after you see the slammed helmet of Segura, Mike Guerrero goes over to Segura and says, that's not how we do things. And he makes him go over and pick up his helmet. He's not going to do it for him. You do it. There's the helmet. I'll take your batting gloves for you.
This is well hit, and I mean well hit. Wow! Long home run off the bat of Mark Reynolds. That baby was crushed. Oh, man. That's one of the longest home runs I've seen hit at this ballpark.
Not only was it long, it didn't take very long to get out of here. And with all the craziness that we've seen in this game, Cardinals trail by 1. Here's the pitch. And no doubt.
Wow.
Hit speed 108. That's the ball off the bat of Mark Reynolds. I saw a recent article about bat speed, Dan, and we've been starting to introduce that more and more into the telecast. That's a pretty good indicator for batting averages for major leaguers, just how fast the ball comes off the bat. You hit 108 off the bat, you're going to get some hits.
Ron Renneke says that's enough. Will not even try to squeeze 3 more outs for Fiers to get a win. The Cardinal. Even Bernie Brewer cringed at that one. Almost hit him. Fox Sports Live will get you caught up on a full day of NHL and NBA playoff action and today's MLB games. Fox Sports Live tonight on Fox Sports 1. See it simulcast right here on Fox Sports Midwest. Being a guy that's been a pitcher in this league and around the game a long time, Mike Fiers 89 pitches and with a lead still and taken out of the game. What's your take on that?
Well, my take is he's not going to be happy about that, but I think it's an expression from his manager that he's not happy with the way he's pitching. Giving up 9 hits. He got the 3-run lead and really wasn't very sharp in this game. And you add the fact that Fiers was getting to the bottom of the Cardinals' order. You think maybe he could squeeze 3 more outs, pick up the win potentially in this game, but Renicky not taking a chance, I think that says something about the future of what he thinks about fires in this rotation right now.
So the former Cardinal Michael Blazek is in for St. Louis, or in for Milwaukee. Part of the John Axford deal a couple of seasons ago. So Fires is through. 9 hits.
And the first run that Fires gave up was unearned. So he gives up 1 earned run in 4 innings. And he's out.
So Michael Blazek appearing in the first game of this series. And the pitch is popped out. Right field, Parra, the Cardinals right fielder at the start of play. Jason Hayward, and we're told it is right groin tightness and listed, or left groin tightness listed as day-to-day. But aren't we all?
But I think that explains why, he was able to run a little bit, but because there was some tightness, that's the kind of thing that you let somebody play right field and all of a sudden they go after a ball down the line and it gets worse. And I think Mike Matheny making the decision that if that was the original diagnosis, then there's no sense in keeping Hayward out there in this game for precautionary reasons, and it makes sense.
One of the key outs that Fires got was in the 3rd with a strikeout of Peter Borges with the bases loaded and 1 out. And then he struck out Tony Cruz with the bases loaded and pitched out of that jam in the 3rd. Blazek was a 35th round pick by the Cardinals in 2007.
Live arm, and he's kind of a 100% effort guy. He's just kind of rearing back and letting it go. He's got a good breaking ball, but he just kind of fires it. Borges, a threat to steal. 3 for 3. Backup catcher in behind the plate, Juan Centeno. I'd send him.
He is leaning, doesn't run, and the first pitch is a strike. Peter with 3 steals this year. There he goes, and a ground ball left side. Loved by Gomez. Out at first. Borges is safe. And a heads-up play at third. That ball almost scooted away. We would have been tied up.
Well, Borges reads this right away. After sliding into second base, he sees that he can get to third. Then there's the throw in the dirt, and I'm not sure if that was a good play or a fortunate play by Segura. The ball just kind of bounced up and hit him. I don't think he even saw that ball. And that very easily could have gone into left field, and we could have had a tie game.
So 2 outs, and here's Lance Lynn, who has doubled and then struck out on a check swing. Very questionable. 3-2 Milwaukee lead as we play here in the top of 5.
The way things have gone for Milwaukee, you almost half expect a wild pitch here, don't you? A lot of little things have added up against them. Little mistakes, extra bases taken by the other team. It's the only thing we're missing.
0-2. Almost got it. Strikeout of Lynn, but a home run by Reynolds. Lead has been cut to 3-2. Cole Hamels and John Lackey tomorrow. We'll come your way at 6:30. It's the Budweiser What's on Tap. Mark Reynolds with a solo home run. First is a Cardinal. And it's cut into the lead. It's now 3-2 Milwaukee. Cardinals through 5 innings. They have stranded 10. They have 9 hits, trailing 3-2. Here's Schaefer, Parra, and Lynn. An off-speed pitch, a strike from Lance Lynn.
Talked about the first 3 batters in the order have had good success against Lance Lynn. Logan Schaefer 2 for 2 here this afternoon. Kind of a check swing hit and then a bloop hit off the glove of Peralta.
And a fly ball lifted to center. Peter Borges, 1 away. UMB Champions Club, one of the great places to be, and now new for 2015. Fans can enjoy a 3rd full-service bar plus an outdoor patio with expanded seating. Tickets available at cardinals.com/all-inclusive. There's Parham, tripled into the corner and right. That's when Jason Hayward left with a groin issue. And the first pitch, a breaking ball taken low and in. Pitch number 78. Floats in for strike 1. 1-2. Off speed pitches here to Parra.
And if he can have a quick pitch inning here, Lance Lynn, you can imagine him going 7 innings. He made the last out for St. Louis in the 5th, so you can picture him getting through 7 innings, or at least 6. And so quality start, still a possibility for Lance. Maybe the Cardinals could come through with some more runs for him.
Hit the other way. Reynolds over and won't get it. And it's off the wall. Borges backing him up. And Parra now with a double to go along with a triple. Chevy Foxtrot's.
Pitch location looked like it was up and in the middle of the plate a little bit, actually middle away. And that's where Parra hit it the other way. Not a big guy. He has some surprising gap power.
Adam Lynn has come up the previous 2 times with runners in scoring position. Last time, a 2-run homer. As Lynn stares back into home plate umpire C.B. Buckner. That 2-run homer came on an 0-2 pitch that was left up.
I think the Cardinals are going to be careful with Lynn right here with first base open. Not necessarily walk him, but try to stay out of the middle of the plate. And we talked yesterday about Ron Renicky saying that there's just a small, maybe a handful of players on this Brewers team who are living up to expectations so far. Adam Lynn would clearly be one of them.
Well, Lance twice has gone to the outside corner, didn't get the call there. Then he goes inside, doesn't get the call there. To his credit, he hasn't said anything. The body language, though, has said it all.
He has spoken without words.
A high fly ball lifted to left. Reynolds makes the catch. Distance of the home run was 451 feet for Mark Reynolds. You're wondering about the longest home run? Russell Brandon, man, did he hit some long home runs. We saw that in St. Louis even.
Cardinal for a short period of time, not very long, but was the guy that was kind of an all or nothing kind of hitter. And fielder, we certainly remember him. We think about him in the home run derbies. I believe he won it the year that the All-Star game was in St. Louis.
That he did, 2009. Here's Chris Davis, who struck out with 2 on and 2 out back in the first, and also picked up a base hit to shallow right field. Ball and 1 strike. Davis out to center. Can Borges get there? No way. Over his head. Pops over the wall. And it's a ground rule double as Parra will score. Back to a 2-run lead. It's now 4-2 Milwaukee.
Five extra base hits in this game for Milwaukee, and they've had a power shortage so far this season, but there's another double for Chris Davis. That's his 2nd hit. 17 hits in this game, and we're still just in the 5th.
Out of play.
You know, Fire's last start, Dan, the game where he gave up the 2 grand slams, the score of that game, do you recall it? 16-10.
So you're saying we're going to get that today?
I am not saying that. I'm teasing that possibility. For those who like offense.
No balls and 2 strikes on Elian Herrera. Singled off the glove of Johnny Peralta with a pop-up into shallow left, and then also lined out to center. Oh, man. Very scary, that situation that's down there. There's not the netting that would... backdrop that takes it all the way to the dugout, which the Cardinals now have done at Busch Stadium.
I think it hit a gentleman in the arm. That's the good news. And he's saying he's okay, but he had 0 time to react.
And a nice round of applause. That fan is okay. Once again, Lynn not getting the call on the previous pitch. Strike zone has been everywhere. Now time is called. The 1-2.
Watch out. There's a gentleman with glasses in the middle, and he's kind of holding his right arm, but he's all smiles. And of course, everybody else thinks it's funny because it didn't hit them.
Yeah, you're laughing now, pal. You know he wants to rub it. I mean,
oh, yeah.
That hurts. The 2-2 pitch to Herrera. Well, the Cardinals medical team is busy here in Milwaukee, and Greg Malk, the lead trainer and one of the really good people in the game today, is back home, and we'll see him tomorrow. And unfortunately, he's going to be busy.
I think they're busier all season long than folks may understand, even with the minor injuries that guys have that they fight through. But this has certainly been ramped up.
Slapped the other way, fair ball. Run will score, 5-2 Milwaukee, as Herrera trades spots with Davis.
Looked like another pitch that was in the middle of the plate. Actually, that was down and away. Pretty good swing, though, from Herrera right on that pitch. And we have a visit to the mound by Derek Lilliquist. And I believe, I haven't been counting, Dan, but I believe that we could count on one hand the number of visits that Derek Lilliquist has made to the mound this year. I mean, I know he's been around because I've seen him on the plane. We see him in the dugout, but we haven't seen him on the mound very much because the pitching has been so good. And normally the guy we've seen to go out is Mike Matheny on the pitching changes. But Derek trying to keep Lance in this game, get him through this inning.
So 2 outs and a runner at second base. Here's Hector Gomez, who is lined out to right and also struck out. It's just been a frustrating, I think, morning when you get the news of Adam Wainwright, and then it's frustrating with the strike zone, the way that things have gone here. Hayward gets hurt. It's like, uh-oh, here we go again.
Frustrating to not get a hit the first 3 innings with runners in scoring position.
That was the time that you could have really I think you're exactly right. When you said a team that's struggling like the Brewers, you jump out on top,
right,
and it's almost here we go again. But you let them off the hook, so to speak. Still a long ways to go. 2 balls, no strikes.
Well, and that's why that visit from Derek Williquist, Dan, is so important, because what he's got to go out there and say, and I don't know what he said, but I would guess it would have been something like, okay, get this guy right here. You still look good. We're going to get him back and win this game for you. I mean, you change all of the kind of mental images that are going on right now of things going poorly and kind of redirect Lance Lynn into something positive future. That's your job, positive future.
Also, is it a visit that says, hey, you get this guy, we need another inning out of you.
Yeah.
You know, we want to get you through 6. We'll see where we're at that point.
And when a coach says we need you, as opposed to going out there to say, hey, Lance, I'm tired of looking at you today, and I hope something good happens. I mean, you can't say that. You can't make it worse, all the things that he's feeling. You have to change his mindset the best way you can.
And a 2-2. Base hit, left field. Here comes another runner. 6-2 Milwaukee. So this damage done with 2 outs. Back-to-back doubles, now a single.
A lot of guys on the base paths for Milwaukee. Herrera scoring from second base.
Juan Centeno. For 2. 6-2 Milwaukee. We have not seen Jonathan Broxton in this series, nor Francisco Rodriguez. That's the 8th and 9th inning. The Brewers have, at least on paper, that they'd like to get to that spot with a lead. Runner goes, and it's pulled foul.
Dan, it's still just game number 17 for the Cardinals this season, and would say overall we have seen a lot of crisply played games. We've seen quicker games, we've seen smoother games, we've seen just good games to watch. This one's not one of them. It's been a slow game, it's been a slow pace, and you look up at a 4-run deficit, but you realize you still got 12 outs left. High pitch count for both pitchers in this game. You got hitters stepping out of the box on a ball that's down and away. Not supposed to do that. I mean, it's just been I think that's partly the umpires not controlling that too.
Pitch number 106. And a strikeout. Number 6 for Lynn, but a big inning. 3 runs for Milwaukee, and they lead it 6-2. plus 33. The Cardinals right behind them. So a couple of teams from Missouri, then a couple of teams from New York. Highest run differential.
And that's become a thing that I think a lot of people that follow the math of the game say really defines the best teams. And it's not just winning, but it's winning significantly. And the Cardinals have been doing that with good pitching, but their start from Lance Lynn this afternoon, not one of the better ones.
First pitch to Carpenter is popped up. Shallow center. Logan Schaefer under it. One down. Phillies win today over the Braves 5-4. They win the series against Atlanta. They'll be in town tomorrow night. Ryan Howard with a home run and 3 RBIs.
You know, Dan, you're going to have clunker games every once in a while, and it's understandable. You play 162 of them, you're going to have some bad games. But some of those clunker games, when you find a way to win them, that's something pretty cool for a team. That really kind of charges you up, because right now that's clearly it's a down feeling for Cardinal fans, anybody watching this game, the Cardinals dugout, but that can turn.
Here's a 1-1. 1 ball and 2 strikes as John Jay is now in for Jason Hayward, who was hurt earlier today. Hopefully not a serious issue, but a groin issue. And Jay singled back in the 4th and scored a run on an RBI by Peralta. That's up the middle. A hanging breaking ball ripped into center. Jay is 2 for 2.
The reaction of a pitcher better be quick. That's when you become an advocate for allowing that batting practice screen to be up there while you pitch.
There's Johnny Peralta.
Players don't do it anymore, Dan, but used to be on a play like that, somebody would yell out to the pitcher that, no, we're not going to let you have the screen. I mean, it's just what you would say. It was a very verbal, kind of verbal jabbing game. I mean, I know that might surprise you, knowing guys like me and Al, that players would be like that.
Oh, yeah,
for sure. but that's, I'm not going to call it an art and say it's a lost art, because I'm not sure it was an artful thing, but it's certainly a way the game has changed over time.
A lot of microphones, a lot of cameras. Players know that.
Yeah.
It's still a part of it, though. I mean, if you're down there, and I've been down there when, was covering a game from, let's say, the camera well, and you hear it, and it's fun to listen to if you like the verbal jabbing and the quick-wittedness of nature of some of the players.
And as I've said, I think Tom Lawless was a Hall of Famer in that regard.
Line drive and playing way off the line. Gomez. They had the shift on for Adams, and he hits right into it. Saturday, May 2nd. 25,000 fans, 16 and older, can take home a replica Matt Carpenter BP jersey. And tickets are available at cardinals.com/promotions. 11-game homestand beginning tomorrow. Carlos Villanueva is our Chevy Colt to the pen in relief of Lance Lynn. He goes 5 today. Villanueva was acquired by Milwaukee in 2004. He was originally signed as a non-drafted free agent by San Francisco. Majority of his career has been spent in the National League Central Division, with the exception of Toronto back in 2012.
And you think of Villanueva as a guy that's going to be an innings eater and going to go far into this game.
One ball, one strike. His best year with Milwaukee was 07. He was 8-5 in 59 appearances that year. 5-7 last year with the Chicago Cubs. The 1-1 pitch. And a ground ball. Peralta to his left, spinning, and makes the play. Jason Rogers retired. So that's a look at the Hyundai pitch arsenal from a year ago for Villanueva.
4-pitch pitcher is Villanueva. Has been much more effective out of the bullpen than he has been as a starter. Throws about 35% breaking balls, the slider and the curveball combined. A lot of changeups too. So really, you'd characterize him as an off-speed pitcher. And my point about him coming in and being an innings eater, kind of hard to do that when you can't double switch because you've got a short bench. So very possibly just a 1-inning stint here for Villanueva because you can't double switch.
Logan Schaefer with 2 outs. Segura just a moment ago. A ground ball makes him 0 for 4. Our pop-up rather makes him 0 for 4 today. Schaefer's had a nice day with a double and a single. And looks at strike 1.
So what managers will try to do, Dan, with that double switch is make sure he's going to get at least 2 innings out of the bullpen, but he's the 5th scheduled hitter next inning.
In the air out to right field. John Jay is back, and he makes the catch. And makes some new friends with a souvenir. The Gateway Honda dealers will donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Well, you're going to have a chance with Mark Reynolds. And a new pitcher is in. It's Jeremy Jeffress, who gave up a home run to Matt Holliday last night. That made it 5-0, a 3-run shot on his first pitch to Holliday.
Also pitched in game 1 of this series. That pitch to Holliday, by the way, the key moment in the game yesterday. Came in, one pitch, all of a sudden the game changed with Holliday's home run. Gave the Cardinals the lead that they held, but Jeffress has very good stuff out of the bullpen. And Cardinals hoping that it'll hang a few this inning.
Reynolds, a solo home run back in the 5th. Struck out in the 3rd with 2 runners on. And fly to deep left center with 2 runners on in the 1st. We're in the top of the 7th. And the first pitch to Reynolds. Colton Wong on deck, and then we'll see Peter Borges. No activity in the Cardinals pen. Jeffress is the 3rd pitcher used. Mike Fiers pitched into the 5th. The starter did not record an out, so 4 innings, 9 hits, struck out 6, gave up 2 runs. And Michael Blazek came in and really settled things down. 2 scoreless innings. As Reynolds hits a fly ball into center field. And there's Schaefer for the first out.
We talked about how Mitch Harris and Matt Belisle settled things down yesterday for the Cardinals. Interesting that Belisle got the win yesterday, and there was a scorer's opportunity to give the win to either Mitch Harris or Matt Belisle, and kind of the way the book goes is you give it to whoever pitched most effectively. Now, Belisle did pitch that 5th inning. Used to be you'd kind of get the benefit of the doubt if you pitched the 5th inning in relief of the starter, but I think Belisle, the couple of strikeouts that he had were pretty important in yesterday's game. Harris, by the way, Dan, after the game, met a couple of guys that were on his ship, on the first ship that he served on, which was the SS Ponce. And he met them. They came to the ballpark. They met him after the game, and they gave him the cap that they wore from that ship. That one of his shipmates had brought that to him, and he had it in his locker before the game today. And what his buddy told him is, he said, "I'm so excited about you being in the big leagues, but this is the important cap, and don't forget it."
Is that right?
How about that?
Great story.
So he had the SS Ponce right next to the St. Louis Cardinals hat in his locker today, and was excited to talk about both.
I thought it was really classy of the Milwaukee Brewers that when Harris came in, I don't know if you noticed this, they played Anchors Away on the sound system here. I mean, how classy is that for an opposing player?
Terrific.
The 2-2. Wong bounces it to second base. Herrera makes the play. 2 down. This has been a place that the Cardinal fans have really traveled well to. Milwaukee.
Absolutely. You know, you expect it in Chicago. I think we've seen it in Cincinnati. But Milwaukee has become a favorite destination. And what we've seen, Dan, especially in the Central Division, is the fact that the home team doesn't like it that much. But I guess they like the fact that they're selling tickets. But when you get a "Let's Go Cardinals" cheer going on at your home ballpark, it can be a little frustrating.
Base hit for Peter Borges with 2 outs. Fox tracks. Presented by Plaza Tire Service. As Peter went with the pitch. And a 2-out hit. That's his first hit of 2015. Here's Tony Cruz, who singled, struck out, and grounded out. I wonder if they had the chance to do it over if the Kansas City Royals would have elected to move to the National League. kept Milwaukee in the American League. You had your natural rivalries still with St. Louis, but more games. You'd have the Cubs.
Be interesting to consider.
At one point, that was on the table.
My understanding is Kansas City did not want to do it.
Hit sharply to first. Look what I found.
Kind of glad all those arms aren't in the National League Central right now.
Yeah, that kind of day. Frustrating. A hot shot off the bat of Tony Cruz. And Adam Lind puts it away. Let's stretch. 6-2 Milwaukee. It's 6 earned. Mark Reynolds, his first home run as a Cardinal. Fires goes into the 5th, is now recorded out. Adam Lind is 1 for 2 with a 2-run homer. Rick Horton, injuries a big part of this series, unfortunately for St. Louis.
Well, it's always a big part of the game, but when it's your major guys, all the more frustrating. First it was Molina in game 1, then Adam Wainwright on that swing gets hurt, and today in the right field corner, a little trip. And then the throw in from Jason Hayward, and the news on him is just a strain of the groin, which for precautionary reasons they took him out, and Yachty can just watch right now. Boy, it'll be nice to have him back in the lineup, won't it?
Makes a difference. That's no disrespect to Tony Cruz or anybody else, but he is one of the elite players in the game today. Right fielder Gerardo Parra leads things off. He has struck out, tripled, and doubled. Then Adam Lind and Chris Davis, second inning of work for Carlos Villanueva. Villanueva, a 1-2-3 6th inning in relief of Lance Lynn. Here's a 1-0. And Parra looks a high fly ball out to left. Reynolds. Oh, he makes the catch and up against the wall.
spins around, makes the catch, jumps, and then face first into that wall in left field. Had a little more room and then had no room. Seemed dazed at first. Borges right on the scene to make sure he's okay. And all smiles right now. Certainly had the wind knocked out of him, you could tell. And the concern of Adam Olsen to get out there quickly to check on the Cardinals left fielder.
The Cardinals going to have enough players to finish the game? Holy smokes.
Ball carrying a lot in this series. So I think it fooled Reynolds last second, and you heard the smack up against that wall in left field.
See him say, "I'm all right." Maybe most impressive of the whole thing there, the sequence, was Adam Olsen, because the Cardinals trainer had a tremendous 40 time, and to get out there to check on Mark Reynolds.
Oh, he was flying. I think it was at a real concern. You just wonder on that kind of injury. I think he wondered maybe something serious might have been going on there. Wasn't sure from Borges' reaction, but he was flying out, and now he's passing along the report. And those two guys have been extremely busy. Adam looks a little winded, doesn't he?
They getting a call from some of those scouts at the combine. Thank goodness Mark Reynolds is okay, and a tremendous play out there in left field, huh? A position that is somewhat foreign to him. Came up as a third baseman, can play first base. Cardinals have asked him to play a little outfield.
Well, Dan, the warning track gets its name because it's meant to warn you about the wall. You're running back, and then you get on a different surface so you know you're getting close to the wall. But the warning track really does its job for guys that are kind of used to it and have the experience of just how much room you have. It's a field thing. And clearly that wall came up on him a little quicker than he thought it would.
2-1 the count on Adam Lynn. Lynn homered on an 0-2 pitch back in the third. He has walked and flied out to left. Give Mark Reynolds credit. It looked like the Cardinals were giving him every chance to come out of the game. He said, "No, I'm all right. I'm okay." The 2-2.
The Cardinals are trying to give the off day to Matt Holliday. They're certainly trying to give the off day to Yadier Molina. They have Pete Kozma left on their bench, who is kind of the most versatile guy left, and then Cody Stanley, who knows, we might see in his major league debut before it's over. But not a lot of chess pieces for Mike Matheny with a couple of innings or more to go. We haven't had a chance to talk about Villanueva much, Dan, but he told me the other day he's been involved for 8 years with the Players Association. He is one of the biggest voices among all players and the most highly respected players in the Players Association.
Reynolds again going back, and he makes another catch. Oh, man.
Boy, the ball finds you, doesn't it?
Two very good plays from Mark Reynolds.
This is a nice play going back, grabs it, and he knows that wall's coming this time. Wow. But Villanueva told me that he would love to stay in this game for as long as he can. He loves baseball, but what he really loves is the opportunity of what he's learning in the Players Association, helping lead and help out his teammates and fellow players, and he's particularly helping out Latin players that maybe need to have a voice in the union and a voice among agents in particular, and he's really done a lot to reform that whole process, and very, very well respected among his teammates.
Yeah, he was telling me that one of the biggest concerns that he has is that, you know, the kids that come sometimes from foreign countries don't know the language, don't understand the rules, potentially on the business side, so they get taken advantage of from agents or whatever the case may be, and that's who he is trying to protect. Good for him. Ground ball that's hit to short, and Peralta makes the play. Mark Reynolds, nice job. A couple of catches out there in left field. Cardinals is trying to get out of here somewhat healthy for the remainder of this game. Jonathan Broxton is in for the Milwaukee Brewers. And here's Cody Stanley. Stanley getting his first plate appearance against Broxton.
Stanley went to UNC Wilmington and was a Double-A catcher for the Cardinals a year ago at 283 with 12 home runs. And this is a moment he will remember the rest of his life.
So his major league debut, 4th round pick in 2010. Was a Texas League All-Star in 2014. Matter of fact, he was the MVP of that game. Part of championship squads with Johnson City and Quad Cities. Nothing in 2 the count. Comes from an athletic background and family. His father, Kelly, played college baseball and football at Elon University. His mother played softball at a community college, so baseball has been in the family. The 1-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. So 283 his average a year ago at Springfield. All told, 274 in 5 minor league seasons. That's been his average.
One of the things the Cardinals are searching for, and you can never start too soon. And of course, Yadier Molina, you hope will catch for a long time, but you're always developing the next generations of catchers. And he's kind of in that list, and there's a pile of other guys that are trying to be Yadier Molina. It's going to be hard to do, but a good guy to learn from.
There is a base hit into right field. Cody Stanley singles to right at his first major league at bat.
I love that. So does he. With Yachty cheering him on, there's Stanley. Got a pitch up in the zone and drives it. Nice to be a left-handed hitting catcher. How about the reaction? Yes. In a weekend that had some bad news for the Cardinals, Yachty all smiles with that first big league hit for Cody Stanley. Nice moment.
And now it's Matt Carpenter. And you may be wondering, well, why is Yachty so excited? And well, first of all, it's a major league debut and hit. But these catchers in spring training are with each other for an unbelievable amount of hours every day.
Early and often.
Yeah.
Well,
so they know each other very well.
Well, it starts with that phrase which we all know well in the dead of winter when we're freezing. Everybody wants to know when pitchers and catchers report, right? So the catchers got to be there early. They're not like the other players that can kind of show up when you show up, but the pitchers and catchers get there early. A lot of bullpens, a lot of time together, a lot of time blocking balls early in the morning, and a lot of teaching going on.
0-2 the count on Carpenter, who is hitless today. Out to center. The catch made by Schaefer. Stanley back to the bag at first. And there's one out. Next time you're looking for great seats, head to StubHub, official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Cardinals. Mitch Harris, his debut last night, and tonight Cody Stanley for a team that has the second best record in baseball. Jay, base hit to left.
John Jay showing why you always have to be ready.
3 for 3.
Didn't expect Hayward to get hurt. Wasn't planning on it, but you got to be ready to perform, and he has had a very, very good afternoon.
Jonathan Broxton, by the way, isn't fooling many so far.
Good at bat, hit balls. Good at bat by Carpenter. Another good one there, and Cardinals a base runner away from having the tiring run at the plate here in the 8th inning.
John Jay has gone to all fields. First was a single to right, then a single to center, now a single to left. So 2 on. And Peralta, a couple of hits today, RBI and a walk. A combined 23 hits. St. Louis has stranded 12 in this game. The 1-0 pitch. 2 balls and no strikes.
As a Cardinal fan, that you're hoping for a big inning here, but you at least got to get a couple. Give yourself a chance in that 9th inning to get a base runner on, tying run at the plate. Try to get 2 in this inning, hold them, and yeah, you take more, but get those runners in somehow, some way this inning.
Here's a 2-0. The shadow is now a factor for the hitters in the batter's box. The 2-1 to Johnny Peralta. Here it is. And you've got Matt Adams on deck. Things could get real interesting. And it's interesting, too, to note that Ron Renneke in the 8th and 9th does not deviate from Broxton or Rodriguez. So if you're thinking lefty-lefty matchup with Adams, probably won't happen. A 3-1 pitch. And he walked him. Bases loaded. Tying run comes to the plate.
Not only doesn't he deviate from that, but there's not even anybody throwing right now in the Milwaukee bullpen with 3 base runners on in the 8th inning. Regardless of whether you're lefty, righty, I think it's about time somebody starts throwing at least. Doesn't mean you don't have faith in Jonathan Broxton, but you also have to be realistic, don't you?
Agreed.
And if on cue, I could hear the phone ringing right now in the Milwaukee bullpen. Actually can't hear it ringing, but I know the reaction of the players out there that it's ringing.
Adams is 0 for 3 against Broxton in his career. A walk and a strikeout. He represents the tying run. Hit left side, backhanded, out there on the first and second. As a run scores, that's Stanley, and the cut's into the lead now 6-3.
Well, Matt Adams not able to find a hole, hitting the ball the other way. The close play at first base, not in time. So a run scored for Stanley, an RBI for Matt Adams, and get that next run across.
Mark Reynolds could have some kind of afternoon. Put one deep. That's what he's thinking. He's homered with a solo shot back in the 5th. Made a couple of really nice plays in the bottom of the 7th. He represents the tying run. 0-1 pitch to Reynolds. 0-2.
That's really what you fight for, Dan, is that chance to get back in the game late. You want to put yourself in a position where with one swing of the bat the game can change. And remember, Matt Holliday on the bench.
0-2 pitch. Reynolds is 4 for 15 with a pair of home runs off of Jonathan Broxton. Runners at first and third. No balls and 2 strikes.
So Reynolds went from seeing stars running into the left field wall, and now he's got to look through the bright light and hit a 95-mile-an-hour fastball from Jonathan Broxton.
Pretty tough league.
None tougher.
Oh, 2 pitch. Reynolds fights it off. Little floater out to right. Should be caught, and it is. Far is there. Congratulations, Cody Stanley. First major league hit off of Jonathan Broxton. And a run scored as well. Yeah, nothing like the sausage race. 6-3 in the bottom of the 8th.
Dan, I don't know if you saw, but with all the injuries that we've seen this weekend, one of the young sausages in that race actually tripped and fell over, and they had to he was okay, but one of the dads had to come over and pick him up, and he actually fell in the sausage race. So we've had all kinds of injuries here.
Hold on.
I saw it, I'm telling you. He took a tumble, couldn't finish.
In the young sausage race as opposed to the regular one? What are you talking about?
Don't you pay attention in the 7th inning?
I don't watch that.
I'm glued to that. Are you kidding me?
Here's Mitch Harris.
It's a little relay they have going. So there's the relay.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And they pass it on. And and he took a header. And another header. I'm telling you. And the dad or the mom had to pick him up and carry him off. He's okay, though.
There's a 1-1.
What were you watching?
Not that. I'll tell you that. As Peralta puts it away, Mitch Harris, his second game here in the big leagues, made his debut last night.
Pitch off the plate inside. Harris has the plus fastball. We saw it at 95 yesterday. And really getting an opportunity here. Who knows? Sky's the limit as far as Mitch Harris is concerned. He just keeps getting better and better quickly. For a guy to be developing at the age of 29, that's pretty impressive. How many very few players get to play their first game in the big leagues at the age of 29? And I would say even more so pitchers.
The opportunity for Harris may have improved with the injury with Wainwright, because you're talking about covering innings and being protected in that bullpen. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, every spot matters, and right now you've got an open spot, and trying to figure out how to fill that for Thursday is something that we talked about earlier in the telecast, and the options out there. Tim Cooney. Probably not Garcia yet, who's throwing simulated games, but at some point may be ready. Marco Gonzalez has had some injury issues that he's dealing with. 7-day DL for him, so might have been a logical choice. Tyler Lyons.
At the third, 2 outs. A reminder that Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Bud Light. Reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly. Bud Light.
So Dan, that all points to organizational depth. If a team does not have it and they get injuries, they're done. And you wouldn't say that about the St. Louis Cardinals because of their organizational depth.
Sam Tuivailala, hard-throwing right-hander we saw at the end of last year. Reyes, another one of their young studs that they have in the minor leagues, and you and I saw him pitch, and he is something else.
Ball just explodes out of his hand. Big guy, Alex Reyes. Big arm and a big guy, and a big fastball.
0-2 pitch. And a strikeout from Mitch Harris. A scoreless 8th for Mitch. Nicely done. We head to the 9th at 6-3. Opponents only hitting 190 against him. Hasn't had many save opportunities with only 3 wins for the club.
Hard to imagine. 10th all-time on the saves list. And he's a guy who has really resurrected his career. A couple years ago, he was done. Nobody wanted him. In fact, he's not even in the Brewers media guide this year. He was unsigned late, and he's kind of in an addendum. Well, they're fortunate to have him right now.
Wong is 1 for 4 against this right-hander. And a strike. We're underway here in the top of the 9th. One of the stories in this game is the fact that the Cardinals have stranded 14 runners.
Right.
Here's an 0-1 pitch to Colton Wong.
So what you need now is base runners. Get the tying run to the plate. Give yourself an opportunity. Send Holiday up there. See what happens.
And there's a nice play at second base. Takes a hit away from Wong. Elian Herrera. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. One out, nobody on. Peter Borges. I think it's going to be interesting to hear the comments of Lance Lynn about the strike zone. He clearly was frustrated in this game. If the Cardinals do not come back, I'm not saying that's the reason that they lose this game. However, it is one of the factors in this game.
I've heard a couple of post-game sounds from Lance Lynn doing the post-game show, and was really pleased in games where he did not get run support, and he was still taking the blame. And he was very kind of himself-centered, even when he pitched well, saying, look, I lost this game, and that's the way it is. And he didn't really deviate from that. So I'm kind of guessing that's what we'll hear from him. But we'll see.
Left center. Borges is out number 2. Gerardo Parra is our Budweiser player of the game. Couple runs scored. A triple in the 3rd with an RBI and a double in the 5th. 3 scoreless innings from the Cardinals bullpen here today. And it's up to Tony Cruz to extend the afternoon. Cruz is 1 for 4 today, a single back in the 2nd inning.
Holiday would hit next if Cruz can get on.
Matt does have a home run off of Francisco Rodriguez. Here's a 1-1. A nasty off-speed pitch.
And the Brewers, hopeful for a win. They are just 2-10 in the early going here at home.
In the air, left field. This should do it. The Brewers salvage a game in this series. They win it 6-3. It's back home for the Cardinals tomorrow. First of 4 against the Phillies on Monday night.
Good series, but a frustrating day for the Cardinals as they can't get the sweep here today. Hayward goes down with a groin issue. We'll have to see how severe that is. Of course, the Cardinals still dealing with the recency of Adam Wainwright's injury and Yadier Molina, and they just did not hit with runners in scoring position here this afternoon.
On to the postgame show we go. 6-3 the final in favor of Milwaukee.